Fire! Welcome to episode 104. So exciting.
Happy September.
Happy September, the month of what? My birthday.
Oh, yay!
September 30th. Yeah. All my friends in August. There's a lot of people born in August, and I think they're New Year's Eve babies. September could be too, but not as late as mine. Not September 30th. That's too late. Well, that's a month too late, right? I can't do that math. Anyway. So many things. Termites. So many things. Let's start with, well, some Queen news, I guess.
How was your Labor Day?
Well, Labor Day is great. I'm going to post a lot of videos of my mom and dad golfing.
Cool.
Somebody, now granted that somebody's 80, teed off on a par 3 that was about, I'd say 84 yards with a 7-wood.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
And then if you say anything to her, she just goes, I have to get it up high. Okay, Mom. Okay. You don't need all that power. You're just totally powerful. The older they get to, they don't move their body. It's just all arms. They swing the golf club with just their arms. It's basically polo, except they don't have a horse.
Right.
And I was with the kids and, the Labor Day fun, but there was a lot of rain, but that's okay. Who cares? But I did taste this dip. Speaking of what I did.
You tasted a dip.
I did, because I was like, where'd that come from? It's Marzetti Dill Vegetable Dip. Now, normally I'm not big into the vegetable scene, but this stuff.
But if you dump a cracker.
It's really good. Well, nobody in my family is going to be healthy enough to put out, like, carrots.
No.
Everybody's going to be like, what the fuck is that? Yeah. Even my dad with salad. If it's not iceberg with Waverly wafer crackers and old school Roquefort dressing, he just goes, I'll pass. Really, Dad? When he orders it in a restaurant, I totally just look the other way. There's always like some 21-year-old person that's like, what? He's like, Roquefort. I'm like, Dad, nobody has that out in public anymore. And they don't have Waverly wafer crackers.
No, there aren't.
Yeah. I have to find restaurants that are geared towards older people to find that shit. Then you need a red leather booth, and he wants crackers on the table when we arrive in a basket. That stuff's really good. The Marzetti Dill Vegetable Dip. Can't speak at any grocery store. Cannot speak highly enough of it. And the fantasy draft started for football. I love it because when you're on the computer, it goes, you are now on the clock. It's a lot of pressure. You only have 2 minutes. But I already knew. I took Tommy.
Nice.
I told somebody I probably said it. I said it on the radio. I probably shouldn't have. But I really would take Tom Brady in a wheelchair over Tannehill, standing up. But now, Tommy, there's bad news in Tom Brady land. He's fighting with Giselle. Oh, no. I know. And then I picked him, and I said, no, Tom can still deal with what's inside the lines. That's his job. That's his office. She's mad at him. She went to Costa Rica. They were fighting for 11 days. 11 days. Yeah, people were like, oh, I bet he's on The Masked Singer. Oh, my God. If he is on The Masked Singer, then he should quit football and go hide somewhere with Giselle forever. I never want to see your face again. Right. If you're the greatest quarterback ever to live and you're on the fucking Masked Singer, nay. Right. I didn't think he was doing that. I mean, he could have been. Turns out he was fighting. And he never snaps at the press. And they said, where have you been for 11 days? Because he wasn't at camp. Again, I don't even think he needs to go to camp. Wow. Training camp. He's trained enough. He's old. He's precious cargo. And he said, I'm a 45-year-old man. Shit happens. Oh. But the word's out on the street. But why is she mad at him now? They made this decision. This is about unretiring, so they say.
Unretiring.
But this decision was made months ago. I don't understand. Here's what I'm thinking. This is just my petty chick ways. I think she said, we're going to Costa Rica to see my family on these days to these days.
She's from Brazil.
Well, Costa Rica is where she likes to run off to. Oh. Well, whatever. She's meeting somebody, her sister or whatever. Okay. She wanted to go to Costa Rica, clearly, which is where Ron went, I think, in the jungle to quit drinking. And it worked. Yeah, that's what he goes. He goes, Maddie, did you know there really is such a thing as holler monkeys? I'm like, yeah. I don't know why I know that, but yes, I know that. He goes, I didn't even believe that. And he goes, and they are loud. He goes, they're so loud. The other monkeys are yelling, shut the fuck up all night long. But anyway, I think she said, we're going to do this in these 2 weeks. And then he sees the schedule and goes, oh, that's training camp. And she's like, well, then you're not going.
Oh, wow.
You don't need to go. You don't have to go. And then he's like, well, I do have to go, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, my draft got a C+ rating from the board that rates you. It's terrible, I know. Yeah, my team name is Smalls with a Z, and they said that I might have a chance to be an underdog and shock people. Exactly, that's the position I want to be going in from. Shock and awe. Shock and awe. I got Tom and I got Justin Herbert from... Yeah, the other people were going to have a couple of Buffalo Bills because I like their team. I got some Chiefs because I got to go Kansas City, Missouri. I don't remember who my kicker is. He's pretty good. Yeah, it was fun. Also, I watched a lot of tennis. Have we been watching the tennis people?
Yep.
Serena, and then this was so funny. I got to read you guys this if you missed it. Well, first of all, I bet $65 because that's all I had left in my DraftKings account for Serena to beat Annette Coutavelle. I don't know what her name was. And she won. I won $265. I posted it on Twitter. Super proud of myself. But this made me laugh so hard. Hold on. Just don't go anywhere, termites. So I'm watching the... Gladys Knight has been at all of the events. All of the tennis events. Even in the day. She's showing up. She must love tennis. And she's tiny. And so the ESPN super white people pan the camera, and it's Dionne Warwick sitting there. And Dionne Warwick has blonde hair, by the way. Gladys Knight does not. She has darker hair. And they go, oh, Gladys Knight is in the house. I'm like, really, white people?
Oh, my God.
So... Dionne Warwick, who I follow on Twitter, and she's got to be 80-something. She's hilarious on Twitter. And in case there's younger, the children termites, for the children, if you don't know, Dionne, before I read this tweet, she has a song called Walk On By, and she also sang I'd Say a Little Prayer for You. A lot of people did, but she made her super famous. So she tweeted out, after ESPN did it, the next morning she tweeted out, hi, I'm Gladys Knight, and instead of taking that midnight train to Georgia, I won't walk on by, but I will say a little prayer for you. And I thought that she just smacked him and outclassed him by a million. And then Gladys Knight typed out something very sweet, but she'd be honored to be mistaken for Dionne Warwick.
Oh, that's nice.
That's very nice. Yeah, they could have jumped down their throats, but also... I don't,
The white people.
also, the fact that they're white. But the second, if they're young, they may not know who either one of them are. What they look like.
True.
You know? I mean, I don't know. I don't think it should be. They should apologize at a bare minimum. But anyway, the tennis has been great. That's very exciting.
The U.S. Open.
Yeah, the U.S. Open. I'm not even the hugest tennis person, but enough when it gets going. Fair weather fan, if you will. Fair weather. College football has started, and Missouri won our first game. Yeah. Unbelievable, because we started out, it was bad. It was like to Louisiana Tech. I'm like, I don't even, is that real? That's not the real team. That's not LSU. That's like some other, well, we were losing for a while, like 3-0, 10-0, and I'm like, oh, no, we can't. If we can't do this, we can't even think about playing Alabama. I mean, we should just surrender. Forfeit. Like in grade school, you can do that. 10-run lead. Tell them it's a halftime thing. If you're beating us more than my 50, we're leaving. Nobody needs to get hurt over this shit. So, that's what that. What else am I tasting? A termite. And it's funny. This made me laugh. So, I read what Susan wrote. She has a card. She's a certified financial planner. In case my brother dies, I have somebody else to go to. She wrote, "Hi, I just want to let you see you that you made it to Dublin this summer." She has the Pubcast shirt on in the Guinness factory in Dublin.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, Guinness factory, fun as always. In case you haven't had their, here's 2 chips from the motherland. Thanks for the fun, you New York termite, Susan. And then she said, typed it. She said, LOL, my husband said you wouldn't be able to read the note. I read it. Your penmanship is just fine, Susan. Yours fine. You tell him, you do you, hubby. You do you. Just what it is. Then she typed out exactly what she wrote, but I'd already read this, and I'm like, that's hilarious that he thought that was too sloppy. He judged too soon. Judged too soon. But she brought me 2 potato chips from the Guinness. Now, I've been to Ireland 100 times, and I've never had Keoghs crinkle cut. They have a thing over there called Tatoes. And they're like our old, remember you used to be able to get shoestring potatoes they were in a round can. My mom used to get them in the grocery store. But I don't even know if they exist anymore.
In Canada, we have hickory sticks.
Hickory sticks?
Yeah, same shape.
Oh, flame grilled steak Guinness potato chips, and they taste like that.
Boom.
Wow. Those are really good. Not that everyone can get those, but selfishly, I have a bag. Walkers Supreme Prawn Cocktail. I don't know about shrimp and a potato chip. I think we've crossed the line.
There you go.
I'll let you know here. No. Mom, it's weird.
Well, maybe you just like steak better.
It tastes tangy. Wait, I have to taste one more. I didn't do a palate cleansing. They're pretty good. Yeah. No, I probably wouldn't buy them. What am I drinking? A Michelob Ultra Seltzer.
Nice.
Summertime refreshing. This is the citrus. I can almost now drink any flavor except sometimes cucumber tastes like grass. Weeds.
Yeah.
It tastes like weeds.
Yeah.
But I'm starting to not be able to tell the difference between any of the seltzers, which may be a first step into full-blown alcoholism. I'm not really sure. Let me put this dip on, or I'm going to eat all that. Put the lid on that. All right. Moving on, termites, Queen news. And I'm already on it. For my friends, all my friends that have little dogs. Dolly Parton launches Doggy Parton. She has a pet apparel line.
I love that.
And they have wigs.
What?
Dolly, I swear to God, there's pictures. You got to go online and look at the pictures. Dolly Parton's business venture is going to the dogs. Ha, ha, ha. Somebody who wrote that was so proud of themselves. It's kind of funny, though. The superstar singer, actress, and author has announced the launch of Doggy Parton, a line of dog apparel and accessories produced in partnerships with Sport Pet Designs. The line will feature shirts, dresses, squeaky toys, and even a blonde wig inspired by Parton. A portion of the proceeds will go to Willoughby Farms, a rescue organization that provides a home for displaced animals. See, that's nice.
I like that.
Why isn't Dolly our president?
Thank you.
Right?
Right.
And she's a great business person, so you can't say, oh, you guys just like her because she's nice and sings good and stuff.
Look at that
No, I don't-
outfit she has right there.
Yeah,
Vote for her.
that's not inaugural wear, but that's for the party afterwards. Puppy Love, my very first record, was my very first record. And 6 decades later, my love for pets is stronger than ever. This inspired me to start my own doggy line of apparel, accessory, toys with a little dolly flair, Parton said in his statement. Part of the proceeds, don't we all need that? She means the money to go into the help. Initially, the products will be available via Doggy Parton, that's not a slash, doggyparton.com and Amazon, with more retailers to be announced. I ordered a sweatshirt that said, in a world, it's for little dogs though, nothing for cats. Because not only will cats not wear clothes, I got a unicorn horn in a box. You blow it up. It has a strap underneath. It's for your cat, so your cat can be a unicorn. I couldn't even get it on. None of the cats are having any of that shit. They're not gonna.
They're quote, feral.
They're feral, except the one on the couch.
Right.
So good for Dolly. That's wonderful news. I don't have any other Queen news.
She's brilliant.
But I do have,
Shares was tweeting Serena.
oh, Cher's watching the U.S. Open, yeah, because she's been live tweeting. She was doing the Serena Venus doubles, and she was in a nervous wreck, total nervous wreck, couldn't even believe it. So she sounds like her normal self again. Tanya wandered into somewhere on a horse to sing the national anthem, some venue.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it was super fantastic because she's a big horse person, and she looked great. If I would have been at that rodeo, it was some rodeo, I think, or horse show or something. If I would have been there and they would have been like, here comes Tanya Tucker, I would have been very, very excited because usually you don't get that quality of a performer.
Right.
You know, unless it's like the, Kentucky Derby. Okay, we're just jumping right in. I don't have any other Queen news. I got nothing. Update! Oh, my God. Let's talk about Anna. We all remember Anna from Netflix, right? Yes, Anna. Anna Delvey, also known as Sorkin. She's still in ice. She's still in trouble. This is crazy, though, because I thought she was the worst in the movie. Paddle's here. You didn't like Rachel, the friend.
No, I hated her.
You hated her because you thought she was an opportunist. And
Absolutely.
well,
She's an asshole.
but you only thought that after you watched the movie.
No.
You thought that before?
Yes.
All right. Rachel is suing Netflix over inventing Anna depiction.
Which was spot on.
The catastrophic damage to Williams's reputation was completely avoidable. First of all, she didn't have a reputation.
No.
No. She was just a young person in New York trying to climb the ladder.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like you were Anna Wintour.
She wanted to be.
Netflix true crime limited series inventing Anna about con artist Anna Sorokin, who was also known as Anna Delvey, has landed the streaming service in a whole new legal battle. Rachel Deloche Williams, who is portrayed by actress Katie Lowes in the series, filed a defamation lawsuit Monday against Netflix over her depiction of inventing Anna. And here's what everything I read, from Vanity Fair to whatever, all these magazines, this girl the young woman did what she did in the movie in real life.
Yes.
So you just don't like you. You presented me on screen and I don't like myself.
She wanted to be a victim.
I think she wanted to be a victim, not a partaker, not a willing participant.
Right.
But hold on. She found the action will show that Netflix made a deliberate decision for dramatic purposes to show Williams doing or saying things in the series which portray her as a greedy, snobbish, disloyal, dishonest, cowardly, manipulative, and opportunistic person. All of which Paddles agrees with strongly.
Absolutely.
Reads the lawsuit. Williams' attorney, Alexander Rufus Isaacs, tells People in a statement, the reason why we had to file the case is because Netflix used Rachel's real name and biographical details and made her out to be a horrible person, which she is not. Listen, I'm sure Netflix lawyers looked over all this shit before they let it loose.
She was all over everything.
She was on, like Dr. Phil and all these shows.
You did that.
Yeah, you did that. Reps for Netflix did not immediately respond. Williams, 34, wrote about her experience with Sorokin, 31, for Vanity Fair. She wrote that's what I read. I didn't even realize she wrote it. Where she worked as a photo editor when the fake German heiress allegedly conned her into incurring around $62,000 of debt on her corporate card during a trip to Monaco. You went to Monaco and you put the shit on your credit card, and that lady kept lying to you, and you still went because you admittedly wanted to get your picture taken where the Kardashians had gotten their picture taken. Or, as my friends in the South would say, well, you got your picture made.
On somebody else's dime.
On somebody else's dime. Or you thought it was going to be on her dime. Turns out it wasn't. She later wrote the book, My Friend Anna, The True Story of a Fake Heiress, published by Simon & Schuster. Simon & Schuster is who? Carly Simon's family. I never will forget. I was like 30 and learned that. And I'm like, what? Carly Simon already had all that money? She's Simon of Simon & Schuster? That's incredible. In 2019. In addition to inking a since-inspired HBO with a deal with HBO about her story, so she's making money, all produced by Lena Dunham. Ugh. Why does Lena Dunham keep getting more chances? I have no idea. That's another Cool Kid Club matter, though, that I don't get into. The lawsuit refutes a majority of how she was portrayed in the Netflix series, including making negative remarks about Sorokin's friend Neff Davis. Oh, okay, so they probably had a comment in there, and she's like, I never said that. Right. That's how I hear her saying it. I never said that.
She's like Cartman.
No, Cartman would be like, I never said that. Nah.
Female Cartman.
Abandoning Sorokin in Morocco when she was into trouble, dropping when she was in trouble, dropping Sorokin as a friend when she could no longer pay for things. Well, yeah. Of course you would, because the woman's been lying her ass off and lying to people about helping police apprehend her. In reality, she never did or said any of those things. Thus, this action is based firmly on statements of fact, which are demonstrably false, and the attribution to the statements that she never made. But you have to prove damages, even if this is all true. A violent contemplative, she's a horrible person. The complaint references quotes from Lowe's 39, that's the actress, and the series creator Shonda Rhimes that appear to support the argument that they intentionally fictionalize elements of the character for the sake of the plot. Well, what damages? What life did you have before this that we've damaged?
Right.
You were basically a runner at Vanity Fair, right?
Right.
Just like, not an intern, but,
An assistant something.
I don't know. Now, this is weird. Netflix gave fictional names to many of the real-life people in the Sorokin saga who appear in the series, but it did not afford Williams the same protection. Instead, it used her real name and personal details, such as her employer, neighborhood, and alma mater in the series, which cast an actress who resembled her in many ways. Given the easy alternative of protecting her by using a fictional name, they could have done that, and they would have saved themselves all this trouble, but for some reason, they felt the need to do it. Somebody's got some splaining to do. But you also, just because your feelings are hurt or you don't like what somebody said, you still have to prove damages. What are they? How much were you making before all this? Let's talk about that. And how much have you made since? She wants to be famous. Well, maybe she feels like she can't be famous because everybody was so mean to her in that movie. How about that, Paddles?
Yeah.
Oh, we have a traitor update. A retired New York City police officer was convicted of several felonies for attacking a Washington police officer with a flagpole on January 6th. Tackling the officer to the ground and trying to rip off his gas mask, was sentenced to 10 years in a federal prison. Thomas Webster was sentenced by U.S. District Judge Amit P. Mehta to the longest sentence yet to the U.S. Capitol riot on January 6th. Jurors convicted. He's 50. They're all like my age. What is happening? Why is everybody 55 or 56? They're snapping. They're snapping. Yeah, I snapped one time last week regarding a work matter. But I didn't hit anybody with a flagpole. I didn't travel. I just yelled on the phone. Yeah, one work matter. And all I just kept yelling was, you tell him to go fuck himself. And then the other end of the phone was like, okay, well, maybe there's no, there's no other way. That's exactly how I want the message delivered. I don't know why everybody my age is snapping. Jurors convicted Webster, 56 years old, in May after they determined he was lying on the stand when he tried to convince them he was trying to help the officer. You should see the video. I mean, to even float that theory, dude, let's think of something else. Say you forgot to take your medicine or something. Say you lost your mind that day because you're on meds and you just forgot or something. Make up something other than he was trying to help the officer he assaulted to see my hands when he grabbed the officer's gas mask after he tackled him to the ground. Right. No one should be gleeful that he was facing 17 and a half years in federal prison. What you did that day, it's really hard to put in words, the judge said. I still remain shocked every time I see the video of the attack. He was the first aggressor in the confrontation with the Washington police officers, and after that, all hell broke loose. He cried at the end. He's sobbing. They all end up crying. Too late now. Too late for your tears. No one better than a former cop to know how dangerous it was on January 6th, the judge added, adding that Webster's service made his behavior particularly heinous. Right, you're a cop. You should know better. You don't go hurt another cop. Right. What happened to everybody in blue is the same. Right. He feels entitled he feels entitled to do what he wants to do as a former police officer. Webster went old school and rogue on January 6th, and adding that he instigated violence and he was clearly anticipating a violent clash. Oh, God. Yeah. The arguments Webster and his team made could not have been more at odds with his testimony. I take no pleasure in doing this, the judge said when he imposed the sentence, saying Webster constructed an alternative truth on the stand. The video doesn't lie. The jury saw through it. I saw through it. It wasn't that hard. And I'm sorry you thought you could get up there and suggest otherwise. Well, there you go. Don't argue a video.
Right.
Do not argue it if there's no video. If you want to be a little liar. Tiny liar. Tiny liar. 10 years.
Yeah.
For one day. 56 years you did nothing.
Right.
And then you lose your flipping mind.
Snapped.
Snapped. He should be on an episode of Snapped.
Yes.
Except we don't really have men. It's usually women. Also, I don't know. Maybe he gets out in 7 on good behavior. It's a long time, though.
Yeah.
I mean, he'll be out before he's dead. Well, depending on his health. But update! This one makes me laugh really hard. We all know how much I hate Mark.
Yeah.
Mr. Zuckerberg. This guy wrote, this is a funny, I don't even know, it could be a lady. I don't know who wrote this. It doesn't really say. Oh, yes. Jesus Diaz. No matter how realistic you make the avatar, this is about the metaverse is as dead as Zuckerberg's cartoon eyes. Whoa. Ooh. No matter how realistic you make the avatars, the big bang for the metaverse needs a user experience that technology won't deliver for a very long time. I didn't see any of this. I don't know where the techies see all these things, but they do. They don't seem to be in mainstream things. Maybe they have special websites. Secret things. Last week, Meta showed yet another cringeworthy product of its $10 billion investment in the metaverse. A demonic VR, does that mean video?
Yeah.
Real? Yeah. A demonic VR porcelain doll of Mark Zuckerberg that looked worse than a Second Life avatar from 2003. Wow. Hastily released in a response to yet another round of universal mockery from all over the internet, it was still only marginally more expressive and slightly more alive than a Ken doll.
Oh my God.
Thanks to the meme lords, you can even wear it as a Snapchat filter too.
Whoa.
The worst part is not about how bad this digital face looks, but the fact that it's a symbol of how badly Meta is managing expectations for the metaverse. Anybody expecting this metaverse thing will end up being a real-life version of the book and film Ready Player One is in for a huge disappointment. And so is Zuckerberg. When he finally realizes that the only insignificant fraction of enthusiasts are going to buy into this awkward dimension. See, I don't even know what he's talking about. I don't know what film Ready Player One is, but I don't even like I've never seen Star Wars. I've never seen a Star Trek movie, but I did like Star Trek Next Generation because Whoopi Goldberg was in it. It was very social. It wasn't really about science or aliens. I mean, kind of, but it was mostly about, they had a bar. But yeah, she was the bartender. Whoopi was, all the people that were in it were great. I love Patrick Stewart and all that. But in Star Trek The Next Generation, they had a thing called the holodeck. And like when somebody was having a bad day, they go, yeah, I'm just going to go to the holodeck for a while. So you could go in the holodeck and you could go, holodeck, take me to Maui.
Right.
And it was so realistic. Mm-hmm. And I thought, oh, okay, that would be very cool. But we're like hundreds of years away from that shit.
Right.
Mark Zuckerberg's stuff I've seen on the, quote, metaverse, I mean, I feel like I'm watching Pong. It's like we're going back. This is terrible. There's shit on the internet that is way better already, if you're into this. Or that thing that Lewis got me that one Christmas, that thing where
That was the first one.
Yeah, but it was realistic.
The Samsung one.
The Samsung one. Yeah, where you think you're in, like Lou kept going, I'm falling down steps, and he was perfectly flat. I'm like, no, you're not. It's an illusion. Anyway, so here's what, this is the metaverse drama. I love it. Here's what happened on August. Here's what happened. On August 16th, Meta showed the Mark Zuckerberg 3D figurine against a rather sad 3D rendition of the Eiffel Tower and La Sagrada Familia to announce that Horizon Worlds, the metaverse world Zuck's company is building, is now available in France and Spain.
Oh my God.
Wait till you see the picture. We'll put it in the show notes. Oh my God. To be honest, I found the avatar pretty accurate compared to the real Zuckerberg. The same dead eyes, the same delicate skin. But Twitter exploded with sarcasm and caustic mockery. From looks great to come work for Meta, where the most brilliant technologists of the day have achieved 1995 level graphics. Whoa, smack.
That's a nerd
Wow, the nerds are coming. Phew. The backlash was so intense that Zuckerberg was forced to release another version on Instagram just 4 days after the original. So this is what he put on Instagram. Major updates to Horizon and Avatar graphics coming soon. I'll share more at our conference, Connect. Whatever it is, at our conference. It's called Connect. Zuckerberg posted like a kid who hadn't done his homework and making up a very bad excuse. Also, I know the photo I posted earlier this week was pretty basic. It was taken very quickly to celebrate a launch. It was an embarrassing correction and yet another fumble in Meta's path to Metaverse that is nothing like we imagined. Wow. Mismatched Metaverse expectations. When the first Zuckerberg avatar came out, Kevin Roos of the New York Times pointed out, it's genuinely puzzling that Meta spent more than $10 billion on VR last year, and the graphics in the flagship app look worse than a 2008 Wii game. Yeah, I mean, I've played shit with kids that looks way better than this. Fair, but was Roos expecting the high bar to be set like the imaginary sci-fi like Snow Crash, The Matrix, or a version of Westworld rendered with Red Dead Redemption? I don't know what any of these things are. Why don't they mention the holodeck? That's nerdy. It's one of my only nerdy things I do is I sneak and watch that. This is one of the problems with the main problems with the metaverse. We have a complete mismatch of expectations between each of us imagines in our head and the reality of what's possible to support hundreds of millions or billions of players online. I have a hard time believing that any near technology in the future we can get a metaverse ideal that science fiction sold us and that Zuckerberg's failing to deliver. Yeah. I won't keep going. It's all nerd stuff after that, but it's not going well. No. And I don't know, are there any termites out there? Do we have any nerd termites that have been in the metaverse? Could you tell me on YouTube? I don't know. How do you get on it? How do I go? I'll go try. I'll go see. Okay. I don't know how. Wow. You're right. Update! You have to buy equipment. Oh, I have to buy stuff? Yeah. Well, no, then I'm not doing it. Okay. I'm not giving that man a nickel. I won't even do reels. I know. Yep. I know. Sorry, Mark. Sorry. I'm not going to give you all this content for $8. Exactly. Why would you? Exactly. I'd do it for $800. Well. Why? Because I'm a hoe. Pay me. It's not a hoe. You just got to pay me. We talked about Larry Ellison, the Oracle bazillionaire, and he basically has bought the island of Lanai in Hawaii. I've been there one time. I didn't spend the night or nothing. I went out to play golf. You can take your clubs on a ferry, and the ferry drops you off in the morning and comes and gets you at night. Okay. And my sister and her husband had been there and told me to go golf there. And I'm like, okay. I had a corporate gig. I'm like, not there. It was in Maui. But you can take a ferry over there. I didn't know any of this at the time. I just knew there was nothing out there except a golf course and a Four Seasons hotel and a tiny, tiny village at the top of the thing, which I couldn't get to because I didn't have my own car. Right. I walked. Larry Ellison owns the island. And we have talked about this on the Pubcast before. Is that okay? Should we let somebody do that? Because now we have a king. Yes. And the problem with, you can have a good king or you can have a bad king. But if you're smart, you start out as a good king. But then that good king can turn to bad king. And now what? You're screwed because you relented. You gave it, but I don't expect the regular people, the teachers and the person who runs the store and all that to be able to fight the king. That's why I think there should be laws saying you cannot do this shit. That somehow it's got to be controlled. Not saying you can't do it. Mm-hmm. It's capitalism with guidance, rules, whatever. Larry Ellison, here we go. Firm accused of blocking beach access on his $300 million Hawaiian island. This is where, like, he invites Tom Cruise. The super rich now have their own island. And that Four Seasons there. But what's going to happen, I think, is you're going to run the locals out. They're going to fight to stay because it's their home. And they want to stay. But eventually they're going to give up and go, I can't. We have to pay him rent. I mean, it's becoming like the Kohler Village in Wisconsin was. And he got in all kinds of trouble. He used to, this is years and years and years ago. He's the reason we had to say you can't pay people. Like, he was paying the Kohler Village people in Kohler dollars, and they could only, it's not real money. No. It worked in the Kohler Village, and he did. He had a bowling alley. I mean, he knew how to make people happy, but you can't do that. we're going back to that though with this kind of shit. He owns all the places you can live on the island, so you have to pay him rent. True. So if you get fired from him, you're fired from the island, right? Ellison, the co-founder of the tech giant Oracle, his net worth has been valued at Forbes as $109 billion. Purchased 98% of the island of Lanai as a reported $300 million a decade ago. See, I just don't think. No. Even though all the shorelines in Hawaii are public land, the Ellison-controlled Lanai Resorts is the owner of the Gate, an adjacent property leading to the Hulupo Beach Park. So this is how they, you know what else they'll do? Oh, I own the road.
Right.
Close the road. Now you can't get here. Right. It's considered a favorite spot where families come to barbecue and camp near the ocean. A representative said that Lanai Resorts that manage the property owned land told Civil Beat that the gate was shut in order to deal with flooding that was caused by massive swells last month. The locals are saying that's bullshit. He blocked it even after all the flood water was gone. This is just the start of it. The gate was still shut. People kept going back. It's still shut. Well, you know what? I don't even have bolt cutters. That's what I would do. Cut his gate. Go bullshit.
Fire sticks. Swords.
Yeah, swords.
Rise up.
Flaming arrows. Turn it into thrones. Come on, Larry. Come on out, Larry. We have information that the park's been closed when there was no severe weather emergencies or emergency proclamations that required the park to be closed. The Maui Planning Commission said. Yeah, I mean, This is what rich people do. They try to do it in Malibu. Uh-huh. Every year they hire their own security. That is all public land. Thanks to who? Governor Moonbeam, Jerry Brown. Yeah. Had Jerry Brown not said all the beaches in California are public, they would all be privatized by now. And none of us could ever go to the beach unless you own property on the beach. Oh. Yes, well, it is not like that because Governor Moonbeam hooked us up. However, that's what they used to call him back in the day when he dated Lindsay Ronstadt. Because he was like the far out guy, you know. Hey, I got a far out idea. He's kind of a hippie, but a structured hippie, if you will. A lot of structure enough to be involved in politics. But Malibu tries this all the time. That is a public beach, whether you like it or not. Your $1 billion house is on a public beach. So what they were doing, at least when I lived in LA, the super rich, the uber rich, were hiring private security forces on four-wheelers to go harass people on the beach and say they were on private property, and they weren't on private property. But, you know, if you're just sitting there and they have guns and shit and they scare the shit out of you, you go, yeah, okay, I'll just move on down the beach. Right. Yeah, I wouldn't, but I have a problem being mouthy like that. Show me your badge, asshole. Who the fuck are you? Larry's 77. Stop it. You know? Yeah, it's pretty stupid. They're saying how it's the land of the super rich now. This is how he bought it, but I already kind of went into that. But everything's in his control. And then there's a story about the guy who used to deliver the newspapers. He's out of business. Okay, well, some people have to transition. I'm sorry, but they're not really confident. I'm just saying, watch it. It's going to get worse. Okay. Unless Larry dies, and then they do something else with it. But right now, it's just a playground for... And here's what's weird. On the golf course, it was expensive, but it wasn't crazy. Not Pebble Beach money or something. But there was nobody there. Really? Yep. I went golfing. There was a guy that was by himself, and I was by myself. And they go, "You're playing with him." Sure. Huh. Fine. It's a playground for the rich, so it's not really... Because people don't go there. They don't, right. Yeah. Anyway, just saying. Holy shit, they found it! We're moving on, people. Yeah. We're moving on. This one, I don't even know. I don't know if this one's because of the drought in Europe. Dinosaur rib caged unearthed in gobsmacking backyard discovery. Paleontologists have found what could be the largest dinosaur remains ever in Europe. Wow. Yeah, we're just finding this shit now. Cool. Home renovations can unearth all sorts of unexpected items, but one Portuguese property owner discovered the hidden treasure on another scale when he stumbled upon what could be Europe's largest dinosaur remains. In early August, a team of Portuguese and Spanish researchers exhumed parts of what they believed is a fossilized brachiosaurid skeleton in Monte Agudo, Pambla in Portugal. Sauropods, which include the world's largest dinosaurs, were herbivore dinosaurs. Well, good, at least they would have eaten us. Recognized by their long necks and tails, based on the remains recovered, the researchers estimate that the dinosaur was around 39 foot tall and 82 foot long.
Wow.
That's like a yacht coming at you.
Yeah.
With giant feet. And then I would have never survived because I am nearsighted. And I wouldn't have known what I was seeing. Like, is that moving? The team has so far unearthed important parts of the skeleton, including vertebrae and ribs. It's not unusual to find all the ribs of an animal like this. It's not unusual to find the ribs of an animal like this, let alone in this position. It is not. Oh, it is not usual. Sorry, I'm not reading right today. It's not usual to find the ribs of an animal like this, let alone in this position, maintaining their original anatomical position. Cool. It's anatomical. See, I can't read today. This mode of preservation is relatively uncommon in the fossil world. You should see the size of this thing. I mean, they have two people down there, and the rib cage is 50 times bigger than just a person.
Really?
Yeah. This discovery is a part of an ongoing project which began in 2017. That year, while construction work was being carried out at the property, the owner noticed several fossilized bone fragments in his backyard. He contacted the research team, which began the first excavation that year. See, then I'd be like, well, shit. If I tell these people this, I can't put it in a pool. I mean, how much do I care about civilization and how much do I care about chop chop? I need a pool. It's getting hot over here in Espanol.
There's a drought.
Yeah.
Wow.
One paleontologist, Steve so-and-so, said it's gobsmacking. A dinosaur ribcage sticking out of someone's garden. It goes to show you can find them potentially anywhere. Anywhere there's rock of the right age and the right type for preserving Jurassic Age bones, whether it's the Badlands or someone's backyard. Wow. I don't know. He's a nice guy. You could have kept digging. Just saying. And gotten your garden done.
Yeah.
My garden's on hold now. For how long is it going to take these guys to dig this out? 5 years?
Right. Yeah.
I guess I would have done it.
You're in pool jail.
Holy shit. They found it. Newly discovered dog-sized dinosaur had protective armor.
What?
It's the cutest.
What?
It's the cutest thing I have ever seen. I would want one in my house. You know how little kids' backpacks in the airport, they have the little dinosaur rivets? This species actually had them.
No way.
Yep. A species of dinosaur recently discovered in Argentina that had an armored back, distinctive jaws, and tiny arms and was roughly the size of a dog. It's like a mini dino. That's why I would want one. Just to see it walk in the kitchen in the morning like, come on, how funny would that be? Who wants a treat? Fossils dated to the late Cretaceous period, almost 100 million years ago, suggest that the Jackapil canicara walked on 2 feet, unlike most other dinosaurs. So it's on 2 foot. It's like a person in your house. Tiny little arms. Come on, how fun would that be? He's a plant-eating thing, so he had armored plates to protect it from predators and weighed as much as a Boston Terrier. It's adorable.
Oh, cool.
Come on. Oh, for Argentinians, Jackapil completes in a vast succession of discoveries the missing letter for the dinosaur alphabet, and we can, for the first time, show an alphabet of dinosaurs that lived in Argentina. Its name comes from blah, blah, blah. Its teeth were also unusual. While most herbivore dinosaurs had leaf-shaped teeth that were similar on both jaws, a newly discovered dinosaur's teeth were shaped differently on each jaws. Its teeth apparently worn down, which the researchers said indicates that it processed food more efficiently than others. So now it's got a crooked jaw, too. It's coming in the kitchen like this. And then you're like, hey, buddy, who wants a salad? You want a salad? Yeah, you do. Sit down. You're on 2 feet. Sit down. It's real. It's a small and very rare dinosaur, and obviously he liked to travel through desert environments. They shared a video of the reconstruction of the species on Twitter. You gotta go look at it. In it, the two jackabills trot along a desert landscape, stretch outward, and emit soft, guttural growls. Go look it up on Twitter. The jackapill. It'll be in the show notes. I have one more holy shit. They found it just because the drought. This is not normal to have this many findings. I've looked it up. It's not normal. Ancient Romans began construction on a military camp, which is in now northwest Spain, along the river in Galicia. About 75 AD, Spanish researchers wrote in a 2018 study. They abandoned the camp a century later. So in 175, no, I can't do that math. The remaining ruins became submerged after the construction of a dam in 1949 created the something reservoir. But this summer, all droughts lead to Rome. The ancient camp has reappeared on the riverbank. Its entire ruined complex on display. Drone footage posted on Friday by Fargo de Vigo showed. Aerial photographs show sprawling collections of neatly organized stone structures, primarily made of gray-brown cobblestones. What's left of a wall runs around the smaller structures, water lapping at its edge. And once grand entrance stands partially collapsed, almost welcoming the river that it just lies beyond its doorway. Pillar bases, I know, it's so poetic. Their tops long gone. A single archway still stands, defiant against the wearing forces of time, and greenery is everywhere in the ruins. I mean, that's just crazy.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
The region's current drought, amplified human-induced climate change, appears to be the worst one in 500 years.
Wow.
This drought. Yeah. This is why all this shit's showing up.
Nobody cares.
Nearly all of Europe's rivers have dried up to some extent, the BBC reported on August 24th, citing an EU pieces of history. They're talking about all the shipwrecks and everything they're finding. I mean, it's just crazy. It'd be cool to see this, though. Like, if you go to this dam and you could see a whole Roman training fort, a military fort, it's just sticking out of where the lake was. That is not going to be at the bottom of Lake Ozarks. There will be no Roman ruins. We will find nothing.
What hours are you open? Till the next rain. Okay.
We're going to be open till Mother Nature says we're not. If you have a good relationship with the Lord, say a prayer, ask him.
Yeah.
Right now, we're open. News. Moving on. You know what? Moving on. Because people should know this. On the same topic. This is crazy.
Oh, boy.
Melting zombie ice from Greenland will raise sea level by 10 inches. Some say 10 to 12.
What did you just say? Zombie?
Zombie ice. This is a scientific term. I did not make that up.
I was going to say, wow.
It sounds like something I made up. By 10 inches. Or some places say 12. So a foot. Zombie ice from the massive Greenland ice sheet will eventually raise global sea level by at least 10 inches on its own, according to a study released Monday. Zombie, or doomed ice, is ice that is still attached to thicker areas of ice but is no longer getting fed by the large glaciers. That's because the parent glaciers are getting less, replenishing snow. Meanwhile, the doomed ice is melting from climate change, said co-author William Colgan, a glaciologist. Never heard of that. Good for him.
Yeah.
It's dead ice. It's just going to melt and disappear from the ice sheet. This ice has been consigned to the ocean, regardless of what climate emissions scenario we take now.
Wow.
It's too late.
Zombie ice.
A foot.
That's crazy. Zombie.
Bye-bye. Charleston, one of my favorite cities. New Orleans, one of my top 5s. Miami. Manhattan. A foot of water.
Yeah.
And then you got to figure, now when a hurricane comes, your tides go another feet. I don't know.
It's a lot.
The unavoidable 10 inches in the study is more than twice as much sea level as scientists had previously expected from the melting of Greenland's ice sheet. The study in the journal, blah, 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 said it could reach as much as 30. By contrast, last year's Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change reported a projected range of 2 to 5. Whoa! Somebody is wrong.
That's crazy.
And likely sea level rise from Greenland to ice melt by the year 2100.
Oh my God.
So, 80 years from now.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'd be thinking about. Well, then I think about the barrier islands. Like my friend Dory goes out to an island, Brigantine, which is you go from like Atlantic City and then go over the thing and then you're out. Like how long can those places make it?
I don't know.
Keoghs, like all the. I don't know. I probably wouldn't be afraid to buy a house if you're my age or maybe even like if you're 20, but. If you're having a kid, that kid probably won't have. Well, you just got to get good insurance. You can go buy something else.
Bye.
Wow. Yeah, it's just a giant warning. Although 10 inches doesn't sound like that much, that's a global average. Some coastal areas be hit with more, and high tides and storms on top of that could be even worse. Think of Manhattan when we've already had the one that was so bad, the hurricane, where it was already down by the Wall Street coming up on the end of the island.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to have huge societal, economic, and environmental impacts. Time is the key unknown here, and a bit of a problem with this study. And 2 outside ice scientists said to, and then they said it. They don't know. But it's going to be within this century.
Was it Sandy?
Was it Hurricane Sandy?
Or Ida?
I don't. Sandy's the one I know. Chris Christie. Wasn't that the one where he closed a beach but then went out there with just his family? Or maybe that wasn't a hurricane. No, that was Ida.
Sandy was 2012.
Sandy was 2012. God, we're too old to be talking out loud.
Ida was 21.
News.
Thank you.
McDonald's lovers, who's out there?
Me. Well, only breakfast.
Paddle says McDonald's only breakfast. She only likes breakfast. I don't think of it. I think of Arby's and Taco Bell first.
For breakfast.
Not for breakfast.
Right.
No, I can't eat the Egg McMuffin because my teeth don't match right, and I can't. It's too spongy.
It's awesome.
McDonald's finally brings hit twist on Big Mac, on classic Big Mac to the U.S. They've been doing this in England for a while. It's going to be a chicken Big Mac. It's going to include 2 tempura. I'm out on tempura. Too sweet. 2 tempura chicken patties, pickles, shredded lettuce, and American cheese. A combination that was a huge success when it was rolled out to customers in the UK. Well, who needs 2 chicken things on one sandwich? I mean, the chicken Big Mac comes amid a fast food feud that has been dubbed the chicken sandwich wars. We know all this. They've intensified since Popeyes introduced this popular chicken sandwich in 2019. Other chains have followed the trend, with McDonald's, Burger King, and Wendy's introducing new sandwiches meant to compete with Popeyes and Chick-fil-A.
You can't beat Popeyes and Chick-fil-A.
You can't beat No. McDonald's should think of something else.
Popeyes is the best.
Popeyes is great, although sometimes they overcook it. You got to tell them not so long in the fryer, and then they get it. But for the record, they're only going to try it at selected Miami locations. Why Miami?
Right.
I mean, why not Miami, but why not other places? Why do they get to decide? It's like Iowa getting to decide who's the presidential nominee of each party. Bullshit. Why does just Iowa get to make the whole real? Then all the money goes to... Speaking of Anna Delvey, we have a new fake heiress. Yes, Anna, you have some competition? What do you mean? There's another person pretending she's not the person she says she is? Yes, there sure is. U.S. authorities are reportedly investigating a woman who posed as a Rothschild heiress. I had to look up how the Rothschild family made their money.
How did they make it?
Banking.
Really?
Super boring.
I thought they were jewelry people.
Rothschild, I thought it was candy. I think everything's candy. I did. Isn't it candy?
No.
Mm.
That's Wrigley.
Like, here, have a Rothschild. I thought it was a candy. She posed as a Rothschild heiress to gain access to Mar-a-Lago when he was president. What kind of security we got going on down there? adding to concerns about security at former President Donald Trump's Florida resident and private club. They make dessert toppings. Okay.
And mustard.
Please enjoy Rothschild. I swear to God, there used to be
I've never heard of this.
there used to be a commercial, and the guy had a British accent.
Yeah, Rothschild's candy.
Candy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for you.
He'd say, "Please enjoy Rothschild."
Good for you.
Good for me. I got one right.
Ridiculous.
FBI Mar-a-Lago is a center of investigation into whether Trump illegally removed and kept documents when he left office in 2021. What are you saying? Oh, about now. What else do they do? Candy, banking, anything else? The Rothschilds.
No, I was just watching the commercial.
FBI, I'm glad you're interested. FBI agents recovered numerous sets of classified documents, some marked top secret. I think it's weird our government, and this isn't about Donald, this is just in general, that we label things top secret.
Right.
Like,
9 of you can look at it.
top, but just secret. It's such a childish word. Like, oh, do you have a secret? I have a secret. I'm not going to tell you why. You think they could come up with another classification? A heavily redacted affidavit released on Friday said the FBI proved had probable cause to remove more documents. Yeah, we know all that. Issues of security were underscored when it was reported that a Russian-speaking immigrant from Ukraine allegedly infiltrated Mar-a-Lago by pretending to be a member of the wealthy Rothschild family. Anna Yashinshin,
Who is now Japanese.
33, I know, Yashinshin, 33 years old. She made several trips to Mar-a-Lago while using the alias Anna de Rothschild. According to the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette and the Organized Crime and Corruption reporting, she was pictured during a golf outing with Trump and Lindsey Graham.
I saw that picture.
Are you just letting any Tom, Dick, and Harry in here? Is there no?
No, she's hot.
She is pretty.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's why. They don't care as long as she's hot.
She said in sworn statement she's never used another name or broken any laws. She told the Post-Gazette that passports or driver's licenses bearing the Rothschild names and her photo were fabricated by her former business partner. This is all fake, and nothing happened, she said. According to the report, she's the daughter of a truck driver who lives in Illinois, and she is now the subject of an FBI investigation and is also being investigated by authorities in Canada.
Really?
Newsweek has approached the FBI for comment. Her multiple trips in and out of Mar-a-Lago lays bare the vulnerabilities of the facility that serves as both a former president's residence and a private club. I mean, yeah. There was another one in 2009. A Chinese businesswoman was arrested after evading security at Mar-a-Lago. I mean, that's the problem, though. If you have a country club that's open to the public,
Yes.
and well, I don't know. It's open to members, though. Any member, a member can bring a member, and then the next thing you know, you got a fake heiress rolling in here with it. But there's no ID for the members. Not at a normal country club, there's not. But maybe at this one, people might. Oh my God, this should not make me laugh, but it does. So Bed Bath & Beyond. We've talked about it many times on this show because that's where I saw the guy who had a squirrel dressed up like a little, like she was on the Little House on the Prairie in a stroller in my Bed Bath & Beyond. And what's amazing, it's always been amazing to me. They bought, in my opinion, stores that were entirely too large. The space, it's impractical, it's crazy. Like you're like, hey, I think I like that comforter. Oh shit, it's 500 feet in the air. I wonder if someone here has a ladder that can come fetch that for me. Or is this like a library ladder that just rolls along and I can go get it? And then if you attempt to do anything on it, oh, please stay off the ladder. I'm like, yeah, it's crazy. There's too much shit in there. Right. And you know the ones on top are gross. They've probably been there forever.
Right.
Like, nobody wants that comforter. No. And what are you supposed to pull from the bottom? And then the whole shelf. Here's the thing about Beth, man. You don't need 20 coffee pots. No. Get 5. Right. And when those sell out, order another 5. When you're down to 1. Anyway. Bed Bath & Beyond stock craters. Because I thought they were going to start closing stores. That's what I'd read. Trying to get a grip on shit. Mine's not closed.
Really?
Nope. I've yet to see one that has closed. Yeah. I like to go in there because I can't believe it exists.
There's that much shit.
Yeah, and I don't know. Sometimes you find fun stuff in there. Sometimes. Yeah.
Sometimes not.
Bed Bath & Beyond stock craters after announcing layoffs, store closures.
Wow.
So they're trying to get it under control. Do you guys go in Bed Bath & Beyond?
I do.
I've gone in for coffee pots, stuff like that.
Sheets,
And some sheets.
weird toilet plungers or something stupid like it.
That kind of shit. Toilet plunger. They have good trash cans. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Wednesday, after the struggling home goods retailer announced a restructuring that includes store closures, layoffs, and a possible stock offering. Okay. Well, I hope they're going to lay off. The company said it's obtained more than $500 million in new financing and was reducing 20% of its workforce. Well, I hope not by my house because there's only one lady that works in there. If they let her go, they got to close because there's nobody else. She could literally give piano lessons in there, yoga lessons. There's no one tracking this lady.
Right.
And I like her. And she's funny. And even when I said, hey, did you know there's a squirrel in a little house on the prairie outfit with a guy that's pushing it around? Like, that's just edgy, crazy that I don't, just be careful. She's like, oh, he comes in here all the time. He's harmless. I said, okay, just as long as you know.
Nice.
Because I'm leaving, so you're going to be alone with him.
Right.
Just FYI. The company said it plans to close 150 namesake stores, but will keep its Bye Bye Baby chain. What's that? Bye Bye Baby chain?
I think they came, Babies R Us. They were going to compete against Babies R Us. I think. I don't have a baby. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't have a baby. My sister and brothers and they all have babies. I never heard of this place. Bed Bath & Beyond said it would also go back to its original strategy of focusing national brands instead of pushing its own store labels. That reverses the strategy embraced by its former CEO, Mark Tritton, who was ousted last June after less than 3 years at the helm amid slumping sales. You have too much product. You have too much inventory. Go walk in there. Any normal person would be like, what the fuck? It would take you years to sell all that shit, even if you went 50% off.
Right.
Like, you only need so many towels available.
Yes.
I'm not even a business person, and I look at that and go, oh, this can't. No. No. Executives on a call with analysts on Wednesday vowed that the new approach different. It would make it that it would not return to its stock in high merchandising approach. Oh, stock in high merchandising approach. Well, good.
Yeah.
They're still looking for a CEO. Sue took over as the interim, but she's not staying.
Who's over it?
Chief Operating Officer John is leaving the company too. They're going to eliminate that position. They will have no COO. The company expects a decline in comparable sales of 26% in its fiscal second quarter and is slated to report in its next fund. It's not about the brands. Like, you couldn't trick me into buying $1 worth of this stock.
No.
It's not, and I'm no Jim Cramer. I'm a lady who goes to Bed Bath & Beyond. And you have too much shit in your stores.
Jim Cramer.
You-
Oh my God.
Well, he's the one that tells you what stocks to buy.
I know.
I mean, he's on a channel that allows him to do that. Put that. You can't, when you walk in and you see all that crap, and there's not enough customers, at least the one by my house, it's relatively empty
Right.
when you go in there. And then there's somebody up there returning a toaster. What are we doing? It's too big. You've leased. I wouldn't buy stock in them unless they said we are 100% redoing everything.
They have a lot of as seen on TV crap.
They do have as seen on TV crap, and I fall for all of it.
Me too.
I love it.
I love it.
And some of it works. Some of it. This is the feel good story we're gonna end with. Yeah, I am ending. I have to pack for Canada. I'm going to Canada. Are you guys excited? I have one more. It's the feel good sign off story. All right, you want an extra one? I do have an extra one. This one's kind of cool. So there's an airliner called Overture, and it's usher in a new era of supersonic travel. Now, if you're all wondering, what happened to the Concorde? Remember that?
Oh yeah.
It was too loud. Yeah, people hated it, and it was too expensive, and it was causing a lot of like damage to the environment somehow. I can't. It's too scientific. I don't understand it. But the Concorde was retired, I think in 2000. I'll tell you in a minute. But because I'm like, does that still exist? Do people still take the Concorde to act fancy? No. Well, no, they can't. It's closed.
It's closed.
So it's closed. There's going to be an airliner called Overture. That's the new version. Yeah. It's a lighter aircraft that will make the airliner more fuel efficient and make it more sustainable for the environment. It's a lot less loud. And then this is scientific crap that I'm going to skip over. But here's what it's going to do. So far, Boom says 2 airlines and the United States Air Force have signed on to purchase Overture Airlines. United Airlines says it will buy 15 of the aircraft once safely operating and safety requirements are met, with options to purchase 35 more.
They don't do that with their own planes. Safety requirements.
United is like a little bit like Bed Bath & Beyond. You got to deal with some in-house problems before you start shopping, okay? No one's allowed out of here until we get this super... Bed Bath & Beyond looks like a whole subdivision vomited a garage sale in it. By the way, when there's only one lady working, when somebody does pull that one comforter and the 17 fall, she ain't doing that. And she can't reach them anyway. She's my height. And don't get her on a ladder or you're going to have a workman's comp claim, unless you want one. You could fall off a ladder into a pile of comforters and kind of get hurt.
Right.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
Just a bit of advice. And then United wants the option to purchase 35 more. Japan Airlines also said it will buy the airliners. It's pre-ordered 20. In addition, Boom and the United States Air Force are currently developing custom Overture configurations for government transportation. So, here's how long it'll take. New York to London, current time, 7 hours.
Yeah.
Overture travel time, 3 hours and 30 minutes.
Come on. Wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
Los Angeles to Sydney, current time, I've done it, 15 hours.
Oh.
Overture travel time, 8 hours.
Wow.
Tokyo to Seattle, current time, 9 hours.
Wow.
Is that all? I thought I would think it'd be further. Overture travel time, 4 hours and 30 minutes. Here's a little stuff on the Concorde. The Concorde was the world's first supersonic passenger airline. Both British Airways and Air France used them commercially between 1976 and 2003. That's when it ended.
Yeah.
I remember like Elizabeth Taylor. Like fancy people would be on the Concorde.
I got to do it once.
You got to fly on the Concorde?
The Air France one.
The Air France one?
Uh-huh.
From where to where?
For an old job. I went from JFK to Paris.
JFK to Paris. Did it really take like 4 hours?
4.5, I think.
How many people were allowed on a Concorde?
I don't remember. Not many. It was really uncomfortable.
Like 10 or
No,
30?
I don't remember.
You don't remember.
No, it was small. And
Small.
Really uncomfortable.
Loud and uncomfortable.
And I didn't pay for it.
The airliners shuttled passengers all... You didn't pay for it. Your job did.
Right.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Glad you didn't lose the money.
Thanks.
The airliners shuttled passengers all over the world, but the aircraft's extremely loud operation and the cost to operate limited service. Its cruising speed was faster than Overture, zooming around the world twice the speed of sound at Mach 204. And then it's just that this one is they've had 26 million hours of designing and testing. It's going to run on 100% sustainable aviation fuels as it flies Mach 1.2 over the ocean, shuttling between 60 and 80 passengers. 100 were on the Concorde?
Yeah.
Did they have first class on it? It's all first class? Is that why Elizabeth Taylor went on it?
I didn't see anyone famous.
You didn't see anybody famous on it? You got to look closely.
Right?
Yeah.
All just French.
So there you have it. I mean, that would be very cool, but they're not saying when we're going to do this. Oh. They want to achieve net carbon zero by 2025.
That's ridiculous.
Well, maybe
United Airlines.
maybe, but I mean, if you can only seat this many people, it's going to be very expensive.
Wow.
I wonder if, like Southwest, if I fly it enough, do I get a free one? I bet they're not going to have a very good frequent flyer program. Because I think they're going to think people that have that money don't need that shit.
They don't carve.
Termites. Before I do a feel-good story. No, I'll do the feel-good story, and then we'll tell you where I'm going. And I got I had a souvenir to show. Are you going to throw it to me?
Yeah.
Okay. Ready? Yeah. Okay, thanks. That was a nice smack in the face.
Sorry.
I don't know why this made me laugh. This is a feel-good thing. A Nebraska man paddled 38 miles down the Missouri River on Saturday in a, quote, boat made from a hollowed-out pumpkin to celebrate his 60th birthday. First of all, where did you get a pumpkin this large? This is a normal-sized man, and he has a tiny paddle.
Who thinks of this?
I could think of a lot of shit I would want to do on my 60th birthday, and this doesn't ring a bell. It doesn't come up. It does not come up anywhere in the system of, hey, first of all, how'd you know there was a record? Did you Google it? How far? And he hopefully set a Guinness World Record. Dwayne Hansen set out from the public boat docks in Bellevue, Nebraska at about 7:30 a.m. in the 846-pound pumpkin. Where does one get a pumpkin that large?
Probably Iowa.
And he arrived in Nebraska City just after 6:30 p.m. So it took him all day, but he did it. And how did it not sink? You would think the pumpkin would get too squishy, and you're sitting in it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Gross.
He had asked Bellevue city officials to serve as witnesses for his record-setting attempt. They say if you stay in your job long enough, you might just see about everything. And this morning was just one of those days, a city witness said.
Wow.
You got to go look at the... I don't know how it stayed afloat. Is there a scientific term I didn't explain to me how a pumpkin can stay afloat with a man in it?
Well, because as long as the density of the man...
Don't talk to me about density and other equations. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
So that's how it happens.
I'm telling you, a pumpkin gets squishy. Now, that's not a scientific term, squishy,
No.
but they get squishy.
It's about the viscosity.
Viscosity. That sounds like a band from the 80s. All right, termites. Well, this is where are my Canadian termites? I made this t-shirt because you have waited the longest for any show that's been rescheduled because of COVID. The Canadians have waited the longest. So you get a special shirt, and there's the back.
Boom.
Boom. And then there's the front.
Boom.
And I'll be dragging them with me as the person who cares. Yeah, there's a lady that's going to help me with it.
Don't be excited.
Yeah, she said because she set one aside to buy it. I'm like, you can have one.
You know, but if I can get
Here's where we're going. Let's see. I got to get my own website up because this is going to be a fun little fall. And we added stuff.
Buffalo, Dallas.
Yeah, but I'm going to do them in order.
Okay. Well, so am I.
If I Google Kathleen Turner always comes up before me. It's my goal to defeat her one time.
We need to rate the Pubcast.
Oh, yeah. Will you guys go rate the Pubcast? Because somebody said they didn't like my microphone and gave me a 1 star. And then that pulls your rating down. I'm like, who allows this shit? I don't even know what I was looking at. I didn't even know there was a rating system. It's free. That's all I keep thinking. It's free. Why would anybody write something mean
Right.
when it's free?
Right.
Because it wasn't just quite that simple as they didn't like the mic. It was like, if you knew this, that's not the money.
I think that's what they said.
Niagara Falls. We're super sold out. So there's no, sorry
We'll
about
come
that.
back.
We'll go back, though, yeah. Then Dallas, Austin. Fun weekend. Matt's El Rancho, watch out. That's a Mexican place in Austin. I love it. Then Chattanooga, choo-choo. Did you guys know there's actually a Chattanooga choo-choo and you can stay in it?
That's awesome.
They've converted it into hotel rooms. Chattanooga, city on the rise. Nickajack Lake. Knoxville, Tennessee. Whoop, whoop. But I think there's a football game that might be affecting.
Florida.
Oh, they're playing Florida. The next day, though. I'm there on Friday. Asheville, city that I love. Coming to drink your beers. Rochester, New York. Ithaca, New York. Do I say Wilkes-Barre or Wilkes-Barre? Once again, I don't know. People send me both. Fort Collins, Colorado Springs, Grand Rapids, Royal Oak, Dayton, Indy, Oroville, Warren. Warren, Ohio's a new one. None of us have ever been there. I think I talked about that. Cincinnati, Welch, Minnesota. That one's on fire. Well, that must be a nice place. Treasure Island Casino. Never been. Can't wait. El Cajon and Riverside. Nice. And then on September 13th, I'm going to announce all the new spring dates. Yeah. Which are super fun. Yeah, there's no dogs in the bunch. And sometimes you get on a run of like a few cities in a row where you're like, there's not a lot going on here. But those are good cities where I catch up on work, and then I can goof off in the cities where there's a ton to do, and I won't do anything but act like a jackass and run around and, act like a jackass in the day. Right. And sometimes it's nice to have cities where you're like, yeah, I'm not missing much. Right. Yeah.
I can calm down.
Yeah, I can calm down. Just turn on the ID channel, watch some murders to get me calm.
Some murder watching.
Yeah. All right, termites. Go be your fall termites, your best selves. Football's starting soon for all you football fans. I'm so excited. I can't wait. And
Bills and Rams, Thursday night.
Bills and Rams is a Thursday night game. What a great game that should be, too.
And you're going to be landing in Buffalo.
I'm going to be landing in Buffalo is right. And I can't wait to see what's going on there. And then I have my tickets to go on the Canadian side. I'm going to go Niagara Falls in the boat and all that. I haven't done it since I was 25. And the one time I did it, it was a charity event, and I was in a boat with downtown Julie Brown and all these strange, quote, famous people. And I'm 25 years old. All I know is I've seen them on TV, and I'm like, oh, wow, that's downtown Julie Brown. So I didn't want to say nothing. And there were football players, old ones. I'm like, is that Joe Theismann? Yeah, it was a charity deal. But so I wasn't really, comfortable, I'd say. I felt weird. So it wasn't really. Now I'm super excited, and now I'm old enough that I'll remember what I did. Or maybe I'm too old and I'll just forget what I did. Either way, I'm very excited about it. Look for me on the Maiden of the Mist. I think that's what it's called. I don't know. All right, termites. Be good termites. Be helpful hamsters. Be good termites. Your fall termites. Get your hoodies out. Fall's on the way.